Carl Gustav Jung believed that the most important journey a human being can ever take is not across oceans or continents, but inward, into the unexplored depths of the self. His own life became living proof of this belief. Jung did not merely study the human mind, he risked his sanity to understand it. His story is not just the story of a psychologist, but the story of a man who dared to face himself completely. Jung was born in 1875 in a quiet Swiss village, into a household filled with silence, doubt, and emotional distance. His father was a pastor who struggled with faith, and his mother lived with emotional instability that made her seem both present and absent at the same time. From early childhood, Jung sensed that reality was not limited to what could be seen or spoken. He felt surrounded by invisible forces, feelings, symbols, and questions that no adult around him could answer. As a child, Jung was deeply lonely. He rarely felt understood by others and often withdrew into his own inner world. While other children played together, Jung observed. While others spoke freely, Jung listened. He noticed contradictions in adults, unspoken tensions, and emotional truths hidden beneath polite words. This early sensitivity would later become one of his greatest strengths. Jung often described himself as having two personalities. One was a normal boy, living in the present, attending school, following rules. The other felt ancient, timeless, and deeply connected to something older than history itself. This inner division confused him, but it also planted the seed of his lifelong question, who am I, really? Dreams played a central role in Jung's early life. He experienced vivid, powerful dreams filled with strange images, dark tunnels, divine figures, ancient symbols. These dreams felt meaningful, as if they were messages from a hidden intelligence. Jung did not yet have the language to explain them, but he felt certain they mattered. As Jung grew older, the pressure of society began to clash with his inner world. He suffered sudden fainting spells, which doctors could not explain. Eventually, Jung realized that these episodes were psychological, his unconscious rebelling against expectations he could not fulfill. This realization changed his life. Instead of fearing the mind, he decided to study it. Jung pursued medicine and later specialized in psychiatry, a field still in its infancy. At the Burghölzli Psychiatric Hospital in Zurich, he worked with patients suffering from severe mental illness. Unlike most doctors of his time, Jung did not dismiss these patients as broken or meaningless. He believed their symptoms were expressions of inner conflicts trying to be understood. He listened carefully to their words, their fantasies, their dreams. What he discovered shocked him. Even in the most chaotic minds, there were patterns. Madness was not random, it was symbolic. The unconscious spoke in images, not logic. This insight brought Jung to Sigmund Freud. Freud was already famous, and Jung quickly became his most promising student. When they first met, they spoke for over 13 hours without stopping. Freud saw Jung as his successor, the man who would carry psychoanalysis into the future. For a time, Jung felt honored and inspired, but beneath the admiration, tension grew. Freud believed that human behavior was driven primarily by sexual instincts and childhood repression. Jung felt this explanation was incomplete. He sensed that the human psyche was far deeper, shaped not only by personal experience, but by ancient forces shared by all humanity. Jung saw religion, myth, and symbolism not as illusions, but as psychological truths. The break between Freud and Jung was painful and devastating. Jung lost professional support, friendships, and his place in the academic world. He stood alone, criticized, and misunderstood. But this separation forced Jung to confront the most terrifying question of all: what if I am wrong? This doubt triggered the darkest period of Jung's life. For several years, Jung experienced intense inner turmoil. He had disturbing visions, emotional breakdowns, and moments when he feared he was losing his mind. Instead of suppressing these experiences, Jung chose an extraordinary path. He turned inward. He decided to face the unconscious directly. This was the beginning of Jung's true journey of self-discovery. Jung deliberately entered his inner world through imagination, dreams, and reflection. He recorded conversations with inner figures, explored terrifying landscapes of the psyche, and confronted emotions he had long avoided. This process was dangerous, but Jung believed that avoiding the unconscious was even more dangerous. From this descent, Jung discovered the shadow, the part of the self that contains everything we reject, deny, or hide. Fear, anger, envy, shame, and even untapped potential live in the shadow. Jung realized that most people spend their lives running from this part of themselves, projecting it onto others instead. He famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Jung also discovered that the unconscious was not only personal, it was collective. He proposed the idea of the collective unconscious, a deep layer of the psyche shared by all humans. Within it lived archetypes, universal patterns such as the hero, the mother, the wise old man, the trickster, and the shadow. These archetypes appeared in dreams, myths, religions, and stories across cultures and time. For Jung, self-discovery was not about becoming perfect. It was about becoming whole. He called this process individuation, the lifelong journey of integrating all parts of the self into a balanced whole. Individuation requires courage because it demands honesty. It forces a person to face uncomfortable truths, inner contradictions, and suppressed emotions. Jung believed that modern society discouraged individuation. People were taught to conform, to chase success, approval, and external identity, while ignoring their inner life. This disconnection, Jung warned, led to anxiety, depression, and meaninglessness. Dreams, according to Jung, were guides on the journey of self-discovery. They were not random or meaningless. Dreams revealed what the conscious mind refused to see. They compensated for imbalance and pointed toward growth. As Jung's ideas matured, his influence quietly spread. Writers, artists, filmmakers, and spiritual thinkers found inspiration in his work. His concepts shaped modern therapy, personality theory, and storytelling itself. The idea of the hero's journey, inner conflict, and transformation owes much to Jung's psychology. Despite growing recognition, Jung avoided public life. He valued solitude and simplicity. He built a stone tower in Bollingen, where he lived close to nature, carved symbols into stone, and reflected deeply. For Jung, true wisdom came not from books alone, but from listening to the soul. In his later years, Jung studied Eastern philosophy, alchemy, and ancient spiritual traditions. He believed these systems contained psychological truths expressed through symbolic language. Jung did not reject science. He sought to complete it by reconnecting it with meaning. Jung believed that ignoring the inner world made individuals and societies dangerous. When people refused to face their shadow, they projected outward, creating enemies, hatred, and division. Self-knowledge, Jung argued, was not a luxury, it was a moral responsibility. When Carl Jung died in 1961, he left behind more than theories. He left a map for the human soul. His life teaches us that pain is not meaningless, that darkness is not evil, and that self-discovery is not comfortable, but it is necessary. Jung showed that the bravest act is not conquering the world, but confronting oneself. The journey of self-discovery never truly ends. It deepens with age, experience, and reflection. Jung believed that meaning is not found. It is created through honest engagement with the self. And perhaps his greatest lesson was this: you do not become whole by rejecting your darkness. You become whole by understanding it.